What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Thursday's episode of the Plus Money Sports Betting Podcast. My name is Q. You can follow me across those socials at Bets by Q. And of course, this podcast is brought to you by Black Sheep Betting, where it is a dog's world. Check out the link in the description to get access to the Discord. Now's the time that you want to be in there. It's football season, baby. This is my bread and butter. Okay? Yeah, we bet tennis year long. But football, I know that you want some winners. You have to be patient. You have to be locked in. I will be giving out primetime picks for NFL on the podcast. But obviously, this podcast only runs Monday through Friday. Last year in NFL, we were up 63.75 units on the year. We absolutely crushed it. But look, that means moving forward, Thursdays are going to be about the only NFL games that you're going to be getting from me on the podcast. I highly recommend, even if you want to check out the free trial for the Discord, whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to still, rock with me on the free plays. I do give out free plays on my social medias. But they are nothing in comparison to my premium picks that I give to my VIP clients. And I think last week I let you guys know I'm like 0-11 right now on free picks. So if you do follow me on social media and you want to follow some picks, now's probably not the right time to follow the freebies. I'll let you know in the next few days how those free picks are looking moving forward. But let's recap. We got a long day ahead of us today. Let's start with the recap from yesterday before we get to the big one tonight. Yesterday we went 2-0. Naomi Osaka was ice cold when it mattered. She broke back late in the second set, closed it out in a tiebreaker. We cashed Naomi Osaka to win in straight sets, plus 100. Then, around that same time, the Rays absolutely hammered Logan Gilbert. I mean, I don't know if I could have been more right on this one. The Mariners have now lost 4 straight Logan Gilbert starts, so that's something, obviously, as a AL West bettor, I will be keeping my eyes on as he moves up in the rotation again. But yeah, they absolutely clobbered him, chased him out before the end of the second inning was even done. I mean, perfect night to roll our momentum into the NFL opener. Brings us to 4-3 on the week. All right, we said that we were going to steady this ship. That is what we did yesterday. Today, before we get into Parlay Friday tomorrow, today is all about increasing our bankroll. We are up 2.75 units after yesterday. And finally, here we are. Football is back. Primetime spot. Eagles versus the Cowboys opening night. Primetime on NBC. And I don't think that you could script a juicier matchup to kick off the 2025 season, especially considering the storylines, with both of these teams. Well, let's set the stage then. When this line first opened in the spring, the Eagles were 7-point favorites. Now, after the Micah Parsons blockbuster trade to Green Bay, we have seen this spread creep up past the key number of 7, landing at 8.5 at most books. That's a major market move, and it's very telling. On the total side, we've seen this nudge up from 46.5 through the key number of 47, with public money overwhelmingly on the over. Okay, according to VSEN splits, 66% of the tickets are on Philadelphia, but Circa is showing a slightly larger handle leaning towards the under here. So we've got a little bit of sharp public divide, right? The pros versus the Joes. Well, let me just talk about this point movement, okay, in the spread, because that's what we're going to be focused on right here. Is Micah Parsons worth 1 point? These books do a lot of research. They do a lot of, crunching the numbers through their programs and their simulations. I still have this as the Eagles as a 7-point favorite, okay? One player, especially a player on the defensive side of the ball. The defense does not score touchdowns. They can prevent touchdowns, but they do not score touchdowns, right? You take out Jalen Hurts or a Saquon Barkley, I see maybe a entire point movement here. But Micah Parsons, yes, he's the best defensive player in the sport, arguably. But is he worth a point? That's going to be the key question today that really the books are going to have to answer. And the public and the pros, they're going to have to make a decision here. It's very easy once you get past that key number of 7.5, or once that you get past that key number of 7. But let's talk Philly a little bit right now. The reigning Super Bowl champions. But interestingly enough, they sit second in PFF's power rankings this year. And here's why. You would think they would open up as number 1, being the defending champs and all. But the offense is loaded, no doubt. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. But the defense is not the same unit that we saw last season, okay? We have at least 6 new defensive starters that will be taking the field tonight. That's a lot of turnover for week 1. Yes, Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator for the Eagles, is one of the best in the NFL. Probably should be a head coach again somewhere, and eventually he will. I do think that he will get this group to gel together, but tonight could be a rough start for them. You add in the fact that their offensive coordinator is also gone. Kellen Moore left for New Orleans. Ironically, Kellen Moore was the longtime offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, then went to the Eagles on a championship run, now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Kevin Patullo will be calling the plays for the first time in his career. So there's room for some hiccups here, essentially for the Eagles on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, promoting from within, I guess, minimizes the learning curve. You're kind of copy and pasting, adding in a little, spices here and there. But first-time play callers, especially against a veteran defensive coordinator like Matt Eberflus, they don't always look polished and ready to go out of the gate. Now, Dallas, on the other hand, we obviously know the big storyline surrounding Dallas. It's going to be, look, Micah Parsons is gone. It hurts. No doubt about it. You have to be living under a rock to think otherwise. He's a game-changing pass rusher. But I do think that people are overreacting to this trade. The Cowboys did get Kenny Clark back from the deal, 3-time Pro Bowler, who immediately shores up one of the biggest weaknesses that Dallas had last year. That would be the run defense. Okay, this was a unit that ranked 30th in rush EPA allowed last year, and Clark can't fix it by himself, but he is an upgrade in the trenches, no doubt. And then you add in a defensive mind like Eberflus, who is one of the best minds in football, in my opinion. I think this Cowboys defense is being underestimated, especially in the secondary. Deron Bland just locked up a $92 million deal. And then let's not forget about last year. Dak Prescott did not play in either of these two teams' matchups last year, which Philly won both of them in blowout fashion, 34-6 and 41-7. That matters to me, okay? Dak Prescott is healthy now. I'm still not a big Dak Prescott fan, but he does have the best supporting cast that he's ever had with this team. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best wideouts in football. Jake Ferguson feels like he's coming into his own at the tight end position. And then you have George Pickens. He was added into the mix, already a 1,000-yard receiver with the Steelers. And in this setup, he eases, Lamb's workload. This is going to be an opportunity for him to help stretch defenses, okay? This is a different Dallas offense than what Philly saw last year, and I think that will be evident right out of the gate. Now, here are some matchups, stats that I guess layer in here. Dak Prescott, biggest efficiency gap in the league when it comes to being blitzed versus not blitzed, okay? Why is this important? The Eagles under Vic Fangio, they blitzed at the 28th lowest rate last year. That means that Dak will have time to operate. And if he's comfortable, this offense will move the ball. I think they also have some really good backs here. Sounds like it's going to be a running back by committee. But that committee's pretty strong, right? You have former Eagle Miles Sanders, Jadon Blue, the rookie out of Texas. But then when you go to the other side of the ball, for Philly, right? Saquon Barkley, obviously the biggest addition for Philly in the last few years. He ranked second in yards before contact last year. Dallas's rush defense was one of the worst in football at limiting yards before contact. So the Cowboys have to clog the lanes here, okay? I think one of the reasons, other than not wanting to pay Micah Parsons, but Kenny Clark being in there will help fill that gap so that Philly cannot just ground or bully them on the ground the entire game. But this is where I always go back to divisional football, all right? Yes, we saw 2 blowouts last year, but these games are rarely as one-sided as the market expects, okay? Everyone remembers the blowouts from last year, but context matters. No Dak, and Parsons was fully unleashed. Now it's Dak is back, Parsons is gone, but Dallas isn't toothless in this matter. Divisional games have a way of tightening up teams. And now that we've gone past 7 to plus 8.5, this is a buy spot for me. So play number 1 will be the Cowboys plus 8.5. It's ugly, disgusting. I'm not mad at you if you fade this bet. But those are the bets that I want. The ones that almost don't make sense, but when you sit down and you think about it, and like I always say, if I can find a path to victory that makes sense, I'll play it. This is a buy spot for me, okay? 1 unit on the Cowboys plus 8.5. It's minus 105. All right? We're going to move on. I got one more play in this game, and it's a prop bet. And we're going to put 1 unit on this. All right? I love Dallas Goedert anytime touchdown at plus 300. 3-1 odds. Philly's red zone attack, it's super dynamic, but Goddard has been quietly one of Hurts' favorite weapons down there. 9th among tight ends in red zone target share last year, and the Cowboys, dead last in red zone touchdown rate allowed. Everyone expects a couple of tush pushes. Saquon's going to get his, Jalen's going to get his. But this is the exact kind of spot where you fake the sneak, you slip Goddard free, and I can see it now. Dallas scores against Dallas, all right? Unofficially, I want to give you some things to think about, okay? CeeDee Lamb's receiving yards props are sitting at 71. Dak healthy, that being his number 1 target, they averaged about 83 yards per game last year when they played together. If, you look at how the way this line is set up, you look at the total, it's looking like a pass-heavy script. If Dallas falls behind, then obviously CeeDee Lamb will be busy. That's a strong lean, but not an official play, but it's worth watching. I do not mind it as a late piece. A reminder to you all, there are copious amounts of profit boost and no sweat bets that you can be using for this week 1 of the NFL. Look into them, use them wisely, all right? But 2 plays on the board today. I see this one playing out. I know Philly is the better team. I do think that they win the game, but this isn't last year's blowout. The Cowboys hang around, Dak makes enough plays, and Goddard cashes our touchdown ticket in the red zone. My predicted score, Eagles 28, Cowboys 20. We escape by the hook, cashing the plus 8.5, and hopefully we hit that plus 300 prop to start the season with the bang. 2 plays, 2 units, Cowboys plus 8.5 against the Eagles. Dallas Goedert, tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. Anytime touchdown plus 300, 2 plays, 2 units. I'll be back here tomorrow for Parlay Friday and more plus money plays from around the sports world. As always, my name is Q from Black Sheep Betting, and I hope each and every one of you hit each and every one of your bets.